Hey YouTube, what's up? And JT Sauce came here to bring you guys my review for Arrow. It's gonna be a double review, so jump right into it. So basically, last week what happened is that there was a metahuman who could take tattoos and turn them into real life. So he was able to shoot razor sharp cards by peeling them off of his skin and throwing them at him. What ended up happening is there was a huge kind of battle type of thing that happened between them, between Arrow and him, in which he almost got killed. In the meantime, Diggle was following the lead on Hive, and he found a woman that would have given him some answers, but she ended up getting killed by Damien Dark. So basically, last week that entire episode was about Diggle and Oliver kind of putting their differences aside for the goal of saving the city. Also, Oliver decided to run for mayor, which is a very interesting concept. And in the meantime, we move over to Laurel and Thea. Thea has a bloodlust because of the Lazarus pit. It's one of the side effects. And if you give in to the bloodlust goes away for a couple weeks once you kill people. So Thea was kind of upset about that. And Malcolm Merlin actually had to lie to her and be like, well, there's a monk at the top of the hill. That's some bullshit. He ended up sending his men to die, and that's what happened. Now he tried to prove to her that he would do anything to help her. So he let Laurel use the Lazarus pit. And initially he was like no, because he knew the dangers of the Lazarus pit, and there's no guarantee that somebody would actually come back. But she did come back. And she came back rabid as Thea did. But with that being said, Nyssa ended up destroying the Lazarus pit because there's a method of destroying it that her father created just in case it got into the wrong hands, and Nyssa decided that Malcolm Merlin's hands went the wrong hands, so she destroyed the Lazarus pit. So no more saving people. Moving on to this week's episode, it's been probably about a week. Oliver doesn't know what they did. Sarah, on the other hand, is still, rabid. And come to find out that Sarah doesn't have her soul. It's kind of like a body that's empty. She doesn't have her soul, or maybe she does have a soul, but it's still not her soul. So Damien Dark actually tells him to put her down because she doesn't have your daughter's soul. It looks like your daughter, but it's not. So he was going to Captain Lance, but he ended up breaking down. So what's going to end up happening next episode is they're going to call in Constantine, and they're going to help her out, which is really awesome. That's the fact that they're calling in Constantine. So that's that whole storyline. Captain Lance, on the other hand, his relationship with Damien Dark is found out by Oliver, in which Oliver kind of breaks it down. Oliver actually tells him that you've always looked at me with contempt. You always thought yourself better than me and more righteous than me. And you were until today. You know what I'm saying? Something deep down, he was like, and Captain Lance was like, you have no idea why I have a connection with him. And he was like, you have no idea why I'm trying to run for mayor. And he goes on to say that there's some part of me that's always wanted you to see the kind of man I really am. I never thought I'd get to see the day where I never thought I'd get to see the day where I see the kind of man you really are. So a lot of disappointment there. But what ends up happening is they find out that there are people who are doing drug busts and then selling drugs back out into the streets and gaining money and so on and so forth. They find out that these people are police officers on the SCPD. Everybody who is doing this is specially trained in the Vigilante Task Force, which is why they have combat training. What ended up happening, they had a run-in with them, which almost proved fatal, and they had a second run-in with them at the end of the episode, which also almost proved fatal. Oliver actually almost ended up getting killed because she stabbed him in the back, and all she had to do was just sever his spinal cord, and it was over. So that was kind of dark right there. But what ended up happening for Felicity, anyways, is they ended up getting a new. They ended up getting a new base because last week's episode their base was compromised, so they ended up getting a new base, and it was really teched out thanks to Cisco and a couple other people and funding from Palmer Tech. What actually ended up happening was the place is kind of glitchy, but Felicity obviously doing her tech thing, and Felicity actually has been getting messages for a while now of just like random code. And she thought it was one of the guy that was supposed to be making up the technology to save everything, to save the company, but that's not the case. It's obviously Ray Palmer trying to get in contact with her. But basically, what ends up happening is that Felicity, we find out that that Ray actually ended up having a one last message before he died, and Felicity didn't want to hear it because that's her ex-boyfriend. But she ended up hearing it anyways, and she was crying at the end. So that's basically what's going on with Felicity. Next week or the week after, Ray Palmer is coming back. He's definitely coming back, and that's going to be very interesting. But I think that's about everything that happened in last week's episode and this week's episode. I know I missed something, but I glossed over everything pretty briefly. I would have went into more detail if this wasn't a double review, and I'm trying not to make the video too long. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to my channel for more Arrow content. I thought this was a good episode. I thought last week was a good episode. Definitely like this week's episode better though. And honestly, I think that Arrow is more interesting than the Flash. This season of Arrow and this season of Flash started out the same as last season, where Arrow started off very strong and Flash started off kind of weak. So hopefully both of these shows go on an incline though. That's all I have to say. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.